be with you. And with your spirit. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, Lord. Jesus had just finished speaking when a Pharisee invited him to dine at his house. He went in and sat down at the table. The Pharisee saw this and was surprised that he had not first washed before the meal. But the Lord said to him, "O you Pharisee, you clean the outside of the cup and plate, while inside yourself you are filled with extortion and wickedness. Fools, did not he who made the outside make the inside too? Instead, give alms for what you have, and then indeed everything will be clean for you." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. So generally in life, we always make judgments based on what we see, what we hear about, what we touch, things that we can see with the externally. And so we make judgments based on those things, just things that we can see, things we can touch, just things we can hear about. And it's very easy, therefore, to pass judgments. And that is the reason, and that is the basis for our judgment, that we see him doing this, therefore we conclude this. I give an example now. If somebody comes and is giving out money to the people generally just say, he's a good man, he's a generous person. And like now, when the campaigns are coming up, it's very easy to see people sharing money, sharing goods around. But that doesn't mean that they have the good intention for it. But it's very easy to judge just from what happens, that somebody is good, or that somebody is generous, somebody is reaching out to people. If you go through the streets and you find somebody sleeping, the impression is that he's a drunkard. He's drunk. We might not know that if he's a homeless person, or that he's desperate, or that he needs a place to sleep. That is why he's just sleeping there, because he has no way to go. We judge because we see what is happening, and then we say, okay, if we find this, therefore the conclusion is that. And this is not the basis for which God judges. God does not judge because of what he sees externally. God does not judge from what he hears or what he touches. He judges from what is in our hearts. And again, another thing about God is that he doesn't judge justly. He doesn't judge we are not judged according to what we do, but with his mercy, he judges us with his mercy. And we find this encounter of Jesus today with the Pharisee, who looks at him and he says, he judges him because he didn't wash his hands. He didn't prepare himself, just like any other person would do, wash his hands before the meal. And Jesus says, no, you are judging me from what you see. But there is something more. There is something also called conscience in people. There is something that is a reason for why people act the way they act. And when I was in Ireland doing my studies for 1 year, there is a priest who came to talk to us, a Jesuit priest, and he has been taking care of the homeless. And he talked about a boy about 15 years old who is taking drugs. It's very easy if you find a boy of that age, we say, this is a very terrible boy, he's bad, he's taking drugs at this age, he is spoiled and all that. But he went ahead to tell us his story, and he said this boy watched his mother being killed by the father. I don't know if I ever said this story here. His father shot the mother right in front of him, and then shot himself. And this boy saw this scene, and this scene never left him again. And that was when he was 9 years old. And the only thing that can make him forget for a while is when he takes drugs. when he takes medicine, when he takes cocaine or heroin, that is the only time that he can sleep. And that is the only moments that he can forget that incident. And then he got addicted to this because he wanted to be forget. He didn't want to remember that sin. And once you see that this boy is taking cocaine or taking heroin, it's very easy to say, this boy is bad. But there is something more to what is external. That is what I say. That is what I mean. There is something more to what people do externally, what the external expression. So, what is really the basis for us to judge? Do we have a right to judge people? And the answer is no. Why? Because we do not know what people are going through. We do not know where people have been. They always say before you judge a person, walk in his shoes 1 mile. Walk in somebody's shoes 1 mile, and then you'll be able to judge that person. Meaning that go through what he's going through for some time, and then you will realize that at times maybe he has a right for what he's doing that. And that's why they said that the letter of St. James chapter 4 verse 11 says it very clearly that we have no right to judge, because if we keep judging, then we have become a judge over the law and not keepers of the law. We have no right to pass judgment on somebody. But however, you might judge, and you have a right to judge if and only if you are perfect. If and only if you know there is nothing you have ever done in this life that is evil. Anything that is evil, you have never done any of those things in this life, then you have a right to judge. And if you are perfect, then you are only God. You are God. Because only God alone is perfect. So you are not even supposed to come to church. You are supposed to be worshipped because you are God. If you are that perfect. It's so important that we must realize that even First John chapter 1, verse 8 and 9, 10 says that he who says that he is without sin is a liar, and he makes God a liar. The truth is not in that person. We must realize that we all have sinned and have fallen short of the glory of God. That is why when the scribes and the Pharisees wanted to stone to death the woman who was caught in the act of adultery in John chapter 8, Jesus said, let he who has never sinned be the first to cast the first stone. None of them disappeared because they realized they all have mistakes. So Jesus tells the Pharisee today, it's not about what you see outside. It's not about cleansing your body outside. There is something more you have to do within you. Do not have wickedness inside and all the fields and everything that is bad inside, yet you express yourself to be very good outside. Or like the politicians, maybe they want to give you a lot of money, but they have a hidden agenda to get your votes. Once they get your votes, then they begin to treat you again badly. That is not generosity. We cannot judge them from that. So, my dear brothers and sisters, judgment belongs to God and God alone. We must allow Him to do that. It is true there are things that we might come across that might shock us, and we might be tempted to say this person is bad or whatever. But we never have a right to, because we are not perfect ourselves. We make mistakes ourselves, and we have all fall short of God's glory because of our limitations. So let us continue to ask God to make us people of sympathy, to sympathize with each other, and not to judge them.